and they are writing actual facts of how the intrusion has been by the Israelis, how their land has been encroached upon, and they don't tell it in anger. They simply report the facts as they are. And I find it a fascinating read.
Mm. Maybe you could send us that the name of that book in an email so we could.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
When we talk about floods in the U.S., and it's too bad someone had to be rescued off the roof, but we look at the thousands of women and children who are being killed in the Middle East with our money paying for that. I mean, that's the really big problem, and it seems far away. Floods seem closer, so I think we need to be focused on the big issues.
Well, there's so much that needs our faithful witness in this time, and we each need to consider what we can do individually. I was reading a Quaker quote about activism just a little while ago, and talking about that we are each called to do something, and it may not be a big act, but what's the act that we're called to do? What are the things we're called to do? And perhaps we need to consider again as a meeting if there's anything that we need to do on any of these situations as well. We certainly have funds we could use for relief if needed, and we could certainly, as we have in the past, issue a minute and send it to our representatives and to the newspapers, etc. And so I'd invite friends to consider that. And if you feel a leading to bring to us, we can certainly consider not just how we act individually, but also as be faithful witnesses as a meeting in this time. We'll go into centering silence now. Sylvia is our worship leader for the day and for this part. And so we will entrust her to be faithful to His Spirit and speak what she's led when she's led.
Several times in the past few weeks, I have received rewards, not because of my good deeds, I don't think, but because I've purchased items. I went shopping. I bought a few items at Walgreens, and the clerk asked if I wanted to apply my rewards from earlier purchases to that day's purchase. Of course, I did. I stopped by Kohls last week to find some t-shirts, and again, the clerk asked if I'd like to use my rewards to help pay for the shirts. Thursday, when I spent nearly $100 on groceries at Hy-Vee, where if you buy certain items, you can get a few cents off per gallon of gas at the Hy-Vee gas station. The lady at the checkout lane pointed out that I could buy gas for a very low rate that day because I had earned 60 cents per gallon with my purchase. Too bad I didn't think of that before filling the tank on my way to the grocery. Some of us may remember earning rewards for performing well in school. Do you remember getting gold stars on your spelling tests? Do you remember getting a certificate for perfect attendance? Maybe at home you earned $1 for every A you had on your report card. Oh no, in our day that would have been earn a nickel for every day in a report card. Some of us had 4-H projects. After weeks of feeding a calf regularly, practicing leading it around the yard, and then grooming it for the cattle show, our reward was just a ribbon. Maybe white or red or blue or even purple ribbons, which we could display on the bedroom mirror or glue into a scrapbook. That was our reward. Come to think of it, I believe those ribbons are still in my box of keepsakes, so they must have been special at the time. I also was rewarded with a trophy for winning the girls' single ping pong tournament in high school. It was the only trophy I ever received, and I still have it in my treasure box. Some of us have seen 8-year-olds get trophies for participation in a baseball league. If you think like me, you might say that diminishes the meaning of a trophy. It teaches kids they don't have to work hard to earn a prize. Do we ever outgrow our quest for rewards? A couple of months ago, I sent in my membership dues to AARP. A few weeks later, I received a very nice canvas bag in the mail as a reward for continuing my membership in that old age club. And I've seen the crowded rooms in a retirement center on bingo days when the rewards for winning the games are maybe bags of microwave popcorn or a new bar of soap or a new toothbrush. But I wonder, do those people play for the prizes or just for the fun of it? Maybe it gives our spirits a lift when we are recognized as winners, even in a bingo game. Maybe just the recognition or admiration we get from others is our reward. Maybe when we have given a gift and don't get the reward of a thank you note, we don't give anything to that person or organization again. We want that reward. What is our motivation for doing good deeds anyway? Jesus talked about rewards in Matthew chapter 6, part of which I will read to you now. He said, "Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogue and on the streets to be honored by others. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that you may be giving in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to the Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. And when you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show they are fasting. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father, who is unseen, and your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Well, I don't know about you, but I keep asking, so what is the reward the Heavenly Father will give the humble people who do not brag or show off their good deeds? There are many Christians who believe that going to heaven will be their reward for good deeds. But I have trouble with the idea that God is a scorekeeper and has a list of those things we do which do or don't qualify for the big reward. So I came closer to understanding with the help of William Barclay's Daily Study Bible series. This is what he says in my abbreviated version. When Jesus spoke of reward, he was definitely not thinking in terms of material reward. It was certainly not material prosperity which Jesus promised his disciples. He, in fact, promised them trial and tribulation, suffering, persecution, and death if they chose to follow his teachings. Barclay said the highest reward never comes to the one who is seeking it. If one is always seeking reward, always reckoning up that which he believes himself to be earning, then he will miss the reward he is seeking. He will miss it because he is looking at God and life in the wrong way. One who is always calculating his reward is thinking of God in terms of a judge or an accountant. He is thinking of doing so much and earning so much. He is thinking in terms of a credit and a debit balance sheet. The trouble with this point of view is that it thinks of life in terms of law and not love. If people have a loving view of life, the idea of reward will never enter their minds. So, what are the rewards of a Christian life? This also is according to Barclay. First, he said the rewards of the Christian life are rewards only to a spiritually minded person. To the materially minded person, the rewards would not seem like rewards at all. The Christian rewards are rewards only to a Christian. Secondly, the first reward of Christians is satisfaction. Doing the right thing, obeying Jesus' teaching may result in losing fortune and fame, but a person will still possess that inner satisfaction, that inner assurance that says you did the right thing, and experience the inner contentment which is the crown of life. Thirdly, the second reward of the Christian life is you will still have more work to do. It is the paradox of the Christian idea of reward that a task well done does not bring rest and comfort and ease. It brings greater demands and still more strenuous endeavors. Thinking of the parable of the talents. The third reward is what people through the ages have called the vision of God. If a person all his life has sought to walk with God, if he has sought to obey his Lord, if goodness has been his quest so that he grows closer and closer to God, so that at the end he passes into God's presence without fear and without joy, without fear and with joy, that is the greatest reward of all. Barclay then adds this explanation, which I thought was helpful. He said 3 times, and you heard me read this part, 3 times Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, they have their reward." It can be translated, "They have received their payment in full." What Jesus is saying is this: if you give to charitable causes to demonstrate your generosity, you will get the admiration of people, but that's all you will get. If you pray in such a way as to flaunt your piety, you may gain the reputation of being extremely devout, but that's all you will get. And if you fast in such a way that all will know you are self-disciplined and not indulgent, that's all you will get. That is, your payment has been made in full. If your aim is to get yourself the world's rewards, no doubt you will get them, but not the rewards of eternity, which only God can give. Then I looked for some help from N.T. Wright, who is considered one of the best New Testament theologians in today's world. He speaks of how God recreated his world when he sent Jesus to be with us. He has much to say about how the resurrection of Christ affects us individually, as we can be resurrected and therefore transformed from what we were before into the people we are with now, and to the people and we are now, and who partner with God to create heaven on earth. This passage is from his book, Surprised by Hope. N.T. Wright says, "The new body will be a gift of God's grace and love. However, there are several passages in the New Testament, not least in the words of Jesus himself, that speak of God's future blessings in terms of reward. Many Christians find this uncomfortable. We have been taught that we are justified by faith, not works, and somehow the very idea of being a Christian for what we will get out of it is distasteful. But the image of reward in the New Testament doesn't work like that. It isn't a matter of calculation, of doing a difficult job in order to be paid a wage. It is much more like working at a friendship or a marriage in order to enjoy the other person's company more fully. It is more like practicing golf in order that we can go out on the course and hit the ball in the right direction. It is more like learning German or Greek so that we can read some of the great poets and philosophers who wrote in those languages. The reward is organically connected to the activity, not some kind of arbitrary pat on the back, unrelated to the work that was done." I'm going to read that sentence again. The reward is organically connected to the activity, not some kind of arbitrary pat on the back, unrelated to the work that was done. It is always in abundance beyond any sense of direct or equivalent payment. The reward of being able to read and enjoy Homer for the rest of your life is way beyond any kind of one-for-one payment for the slog of learning Greek. I was never caring much about Homer, but maybe I missed out. All this relates directly to what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15:58. The resurrection means that what you do in the present, in working hard for the gospel, is not wasted. It is not in vain. It will be completed, will have its fulfillment in God's future. The resurrection, the rewards, happen day by day in our satisfaction and our realization, or our belief that we are doing the right thing in God's will. The below inspirational poem is generally known as "Do It Anyway," supposedly by Mother Teresa, but this was written by Kent Keith as paradoxical commandments, and Mother Teresa promoted it by hanging a framed photo of this poem on the wall of her home. Do it anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God. It was never between you and the others anyway.
Thank you, Sylvia. We'll now continue with additional unprogrammed worship for those who can stay. And for those who need to leave, we bid you Godspeed and hope you have a wonderful week. And we look forward to seeing you next week in worship.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Are all hearts clear?
I believe mine is.
I'm stuck in a place of what rewards is. Chip knows that I went to a funeral for this young woman this weekend, or this week, Wednesday. It's a busy Wednesday. Had a worship, a Bible study, a board meeting, and a funeral. The girl was 9 days old.
Hmm.
I don't know this family at all. They're from a inner city located in Connecticut, Hispanic. He's part of our men's group. I've talked to him maybe twice, but something called me to do that, and the reward was very gray. Standing above it was an open casket, standing above a 9-year-old girl, a 9-day-old girl. Broke my heart. But it wasn't until hours later that I didn't understand why they had an open casket. But then I thought it was brilliant. Because what I got was, the world may never have known her, but I did see her. And the reward that I got was that love and joy were present in her life. I wanted to say something, but I didn't know if it was from God or from my mind. So I thought I'd wait to the end. So rewards aren't always present. I think sometimes the reward is for you to reflect. I never got a ribbon or a some kind of statue for my work, but I do see the rewards that God gives us. I thank you all.
Thank you for sharing that, Steve.
It feels like the perfect ending to meeting for worship.
Yeah, it's been on my mind since Wednesday. I prayed for that family, but I also saw that the family found a way to do it. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Rain here in Connecticut, finally. So maybe I'll have to cut the grass sometime next week because it's not growing at all.
Tell Catherine hello.
Yeah, she went to a Audubon thing in town that they were going to go see birds. I couldn't get up that early. I've been working really hard. I'm having a open house for my 70th birthday to show all my artwork. The ceramic artwork that I've been doing, which is all spiritually driven. So I've been working pretty hard trying to get it all together. I'll send you guys pictures. If you would like.
Oh yes, yes.
Please do.
Please friend me on Facebook, and you'll see some. I'm trying to entice people to come, so I keep posting things.
Great. Well, as Tiny Tim said, God bless us, everyone. Okay. Be well.
Bye.
Love you guys.